Ever thought about what you'd need to do if your garage door got stuck, closed, or open? Picture this. You're rushing to work or maybe coming home after a long day and suddenly you're completely stranded. Well, now you don't have to worry about that nightmare scenario because Garage Door Plus can do a complete inspection on your garage door for just $29. They'll thoroughly examine all moving parts, check the wear on the mechanical components, test springs, cable, and opener system of your garage door to keep you worry-free throughout the entire year. It's preventive maintenance that can save you hundreds of dollars and major headaches down the road. This actually happened to my wife, and it literally left her stranded. She couldn't get out because the garage door was completely stuck. We called up Garage Doors Plus, and they were there in no time to take care of the problem. The technician was professional, efficient, and got us back up and running quickly. Now I have my shop and personal home garage doors inspected every year. It's the best investment I make for my peace of mind. If you want fast, dependable, reliable service, including emergency garage door service, call Garage Doors Plus at 612-760-7551 or find them online at GarageDoorsPlusLLC.com.
From working in his family's Chinese restaurant, to bartending, to becoming present-day owner of Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, my father's true superpower is human connection. Now, he's on a mission to capture the most fascinating stories that make up the Minnesota community. You're listening to the Twin City Tales podcast.
Today, we're joined by Abe Kao, owner and CEO of ClearBright Washing, a University of Minnesota graduate who grew up in the Minneapolis area. Abe has built an impressive cleaning service business, serving everyone from residential customers to major hotels like the Marriott and the Hilton. Using eco-friendly, EPA, safer choice certified products, ClearBright Washing has earned the trust of major property management companies through reliable service and transparent pricing. Today, we'll explore how this local entrepreneur turned his vision into a Twin City business. Abe, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Wyman.
Oh, this is going to be a fun show.
Yeah.
Hey, you grew up in the Minneapolis area, and I think you said you went to St. Paul Central?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. How did you end up doing that?
So back when I was going to, actually I would switch over from Minneapolis School District after elementary school and went over to St. Paul School District. So I went to Murray Junior High for 7th, 8th grade, and then St. Paul Central High School for high school.
Yeah. And St. Paul had a really good football program, and I know you're a big Vikings fan.
Yeah, they have a pretty good sports program, and especially cross country. I think was probably number one in the state. I didn't do cross country, but I like football for sure and basketball.
What do you remember growing up in the Minneapolis area? You grew up in the South Minneapolis area, right?
Southeast.
Yep. Yeah. What do you remember most about growing up?
When I was growing up, so we lived in an area where it was close to the University of Minnesota. So at that time, the neighborhood was composed of a lot of families, whether they were natives, native Minnesotans that had their families here, or international students that had their families. So diversity was really cool. I had friends from all kinds of different backgrounds, different ethnic races, heritages. So that diversity was really cool. At the time, we were on our bikes all day, every day. In the summertime, we'll go down to a playground, play pickup basketball, pickup football. Yeah, it was a wonderful time.
Yeah, the Minneapolis community is pretty cool. I grew up in that Golden Valley area, so in the suburbs more, right? And it's kind of funny back then, I think as you're a little bit younger than me, you grew up in the 90s, I believe, and that area, 80s, 90s. And,
80s, 90s.
Back then when I was going to Hopkins, there was only 2 other Asians that were in my school, right? And the diversity's gotten a lot better.
Sure.
But it's pretty cool growing up in this area, being Asian, So, and you came over when you were really young, right?
Yeah.
From Taiwan.
Right. Yeah, we came over. I wasn't even a year old yet. My dad was getting his graduate degree down at the University of Iowa. And then once he graduated, he found a job up here in the Twin Cities area. So we came up here in the mid-'80s, and we've been here since.
That was a blessing that he got you out of Iowa. 'Cause, you know,
I got a soft spot for Iowa
ya?
City in particular. Yeah, because
Uh,
we had some friends and we lived there for a few years. So
I,
it's a neat city.
okay,
Uh,
okay. I gotta admit, the best thing to come out of Iowa is 35W.
that's a good one.
So, and then you went on to the University of Minnesota, right?
hmm
And then you end up getting a degree in.
So, yep, I went to University of Minnesota, Carlson School of Management. I double majored in accounting and also business management. And then, yeah, I got a Bachelor of Science in both of those.
So, unlike me, you're perpetuating the Asian myth about being good at numbers. 'Cause I'm not good at numbers, and you graduated with an accounting degree.
Yeah, but that's a misconception. People think that just because someone's an accountant, they're probably a whiz at math. But accounting is more about the principles and rules. You got to know addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, but you don't need that calculus and all that advanced mathematics. So no, I'm okay at math. I still use my calculator a lot. So
Absolutely. I get mistaken for, yeah, you must be good at math or computers. And I'm like the worst at computers. So, so at the you end up getting the degree and then you end up working in the corporate world, or how
yeah.
did you decide to?
So after graduating, I actually did a year volunteer. So I moved to Chicago and was doing some volunteer work with church. So helping out with college students, high school students. So that was for about a year. And then I came back and I worked for a small, medium-sized company. They were a custom computer server manufacturer. So I was doing the staff accounting and payroll activities, and now transitioned over to Wells Fargo. Was there for 16 years, and then Minneapolis Federal Reserve for the last 3.5 years. So, yeah, that was my corporate journey. And so I started off in accounting, but through 20 rough years, gain new skills, experiences, and then gain more responsibilities. Eventually went from accounting to internal controls to risk management and then compliance.
Wow.
So all the while building experience, building teams, implementing frameworks. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think I heard you were working with a computer company. So you really just transcended the myth of Asians and computers and numbers.
Well, my dad was a computer software engineer.
Okay.
So I remember him taking us to take our kids to work day. And so my sister and my dad took us to work, and we went to his cubicle and we saw our pictures up on his desk, which is cool.
Yeah.
But he was showing us some organs, so it's like rows and rows of I don't even know what it was. I assume it's code, but it's like just go cycling through a computer screen. It's like I don't want to sit inside all day and work on computers. Unbeknownst, once I graduated, everything's on computer. So even though I was doing accounting or whatever, all of us are on computers pretty much all day.
Yeah, and you had to sit at a desk the whole time, too.
Yeah.
So
that was quite the adjustment.
Well, my brother-in-law, also Asian, Howie, he is a computer engineer or
Okay.
whiz at that stuff. He's retired now, but yeah, it's like we Asians kind of sometimes perpetuate that. And I think with you getting into the business of like cleaning, deck washing, we kind of break that mold. And me being an owner of a heating and air and electric and water treatment system company kind of breaks the mold of us typical Asians, right? Like either restaurants, nails, or computers.
Yeah.
But how did you, going from like that environment of accounting, how did you end up deciding like, hey, I'm gonna clean windows, I'm gonna clean carpets?
Yeah, I get asked that question a lot because those are very disparate industries. One's in corporate, sit in office all day, another's in trades, and you're out in the field most of the time. Being a business owner, you're not just doing operations, doing all the other computer stuff as well, and a lot of administrative, a lot of relationship building, a lot of vendor relationships, staffing relationships. So a lot goes into it. But when I was about to graduate from high school, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to major in college. So I took a career assessment test, and couple of the responses back. One was accountant, which I did pursued. I didn't do it directly because at some point, I wanted to be a cop or a fireman. But the other one was also a janitor. So I said, "What?"
It's a
So it's like,
janitor on
yeah,
it?
yeah. So it's like you
Or was it sanitation engineer to make it sound
right.
better?
No, it came back as accountant, a whole bunch of other stuff, and janitor. I was like, wow, that's really a stretch. But basically, what that assessment was measuring was certain traits or behaviors that that person had.
Mhm.
So both accountants and somebody working in janitorial cleaning like to keep things organized and cleaned, and pays attention to detail, make sure everything is immaculate. So I think that's where my composition, I guess, my certain traits that I have, I like to keep things clean and organized all around me, my house, my place, my business, my work, my life. So that's where getting into cleaning industry wasn't so big a stretch. Now, functionally, yeah, going Sentinel all day to going into cleaning industry, yeah, that's a pretty big difference. But I can see where some of that is based on my certain traits that I have. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And why cleaning? Why did I go into business? Was after working corporate and working so hard, day and night, building something for a company, um, I made a firm decision to pursue doing business on my own. Work hard and build something that's sustainable, that I can call my own, probably call my own, and also hire a good team of people, create a great culture, give back to the community, have good wages for the workers. So just really tight, trusted, good culture.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, and there's something to be said about like if you work in the corporate world, and I worked at Centerpoint Energy Minneapolis, and
Mhm.
it's it's local, but it's big. I mean, they're owned out of like I believe Centerpoint is out of Houston,
Yeah,
and
I think so.
you feel like sometimes you become a number, and
Uh,
there's nothing wrong with it. I think there's we're just all wired kind of differently, but
mhm.
it's a risk you take on yourself, right? But at least you kind of feel like you're controlling your own destiny
Yeah,
rather than somebody else is controlling my destiny,
true,
right?
true,
So
exactly.
that
Yeah.
that's always the freedom part that you
Mhm.
feel like you get. It's not always about money. You're going to
No,
make more money.
no,
It's really the autonomy.
yeah.
And does it necessarily mean you have full autonomy? No, our customers control a lot of what our
Yeah,
lives
true,
are, and
true.
but
Um,
it's interesting.
yeah.
And yeah, you have to be wired a certain way
Mhm.
to be able to go out and do that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, oh, it's great that you mentioned that too, because when we first met, especially here in Midwest, we don't have many Asians in the trades. So when you had me over to clean the carpets at your office, and I met, oh, you're Asian, and we share similar heritage, I was like, wow, this is somebody that's actually done it. So I admire you, and I'm glad we could reconnect in that way because we have a shared background. And
Yeah, yeah.
somebody going into trades and knowing like, oh, it's not easy. There's a lot of challenges, a lot of stress with running and operating a business.
There is, and it's like, kind of funny that you say that in a sense, like, because you came from like the the white collar side of the business, like
Hmm.
the accounting part, like, and I was a service tech that kind
Hmm.
of built something,
Hmm.
and my challenge is like I don't know numbers that well. I mean, I have people that help me with that.
Hmm.
I never graduated out of college with an accounting or a business degree,
Uh-huh.
so those are kind of the challenges that I run into. Do you feel like having that degree really helped you in your business?
I think so. I think in life we go through different experiences and situations, and we learn throughout life. Life is a journey, and we accumulate experiences. We meet people along the way. We learn several lessons. But yeah, accounting. And I pursued a couple other professional certifications, CPA, the Certified Public Accountant, and CSAT, which is Certified Information System Auditor. And those were things that I got that helped me in my corporate career. But I think just by pursuing anything, with diligence and perseverance that helps train somebody to have the work ethic, the focus, overcoming obstacles, and to really move something forward. So what I'm saying is, yeah, that was a totally different area, but it also provided those lessons and the um, I guess the opportunity for me to really stretch myself to build businesses in a corporate setting, and then I could take those skills and apply them to who I was. That's my makeup, is to build things and to push things along. A lot of that is from my parents, how they raised me, but I think, yeah, it's a different industry, but it's something that really helped me to focus and build something on my own too.
I got to ask, I'm going to digress a little bit here because we both had Asian parents, and I feel like, being Asian, like, I remember my parents were very like, it's all about the grades. You better get good grades.
Yeah.
And I was horrible at it. I was like a B average, C average. And being Asian, if you're a B average, that's not good enough. Like my
Right.
sisters were all A students, right?
Yeah.
Did they do that to you too, or
Oh,
do you feel
yeah.
like that was like, and you had to learn to play the piano and stuff? Did you have to play
So
piano?
my mom, she played piano. My mom's really talented musically and artistically. So yeah, she taught us all how to play piano. I regrettably didn't stick with it, but my other siblings are very musical. I picked up the violin here and there, but
Okay.
so I personally didn't stick with it, but I could still sit down and play a few songs on piano and skirt something on the violin. So it's
I
okay.
wish I would have stuck with it. I think when I was younger, it was one of those things where I didn't stay in the band because it felt in the 80s, 70s, it was kind of nerdy to be in the band.
Okay.
But gosh, I know my son who's behind the cameras here and the person doing the technical stuff,
Yeah.
he has an ear for music and
Yeah.
a lot of it's self-taught. And
Yeah.
I didn't do that to him. I didn't make him like play the piano. Like
Yeah,
a typical
right,
Asian
right,
parent.
Well,
But
to your point, my siblings, they could sit down and just play something on the piano or the guitar. It's like, man, it's so enjoyable to be
Yeah.
able to just sit down and play something, some song.
And there's so many different levels because during the COVID time, I
Uh-huh.
actually got on. Um, it's called Simply Piano because we have a piano at home, and I didn't realize like you can play like a simple version, and then you can play more of a middle intermediate version, and you can
Okay.
play a real intricate version, right?
Yeah.
Because like the Titanic, the theme of the Titanic, they give you like the basic version where it's like one note at a time, and then they give you an intermediate where you maybe have to use two notes at
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
time. Then the major version was like everything
You
at
gotta
one
use
time. I'm
all
like,
fingers.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's craziness. I'm like, oh, I'm not that talented. But I digress from there. Going back to business, a little bit more about business. Like, I'm very fascinated because, like, you came from that white collar world where you really knew your numbers. You knew how to read a profit and loss sheet. You knew how to read income statements and stuff like that, as opposed to someone like me who probably would have done like the deck washing in your company or been good at it. Don't understand that. Do you do all your own accounting then on every aspect of it, every level?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. So knowing the accounting and the profit loss statements, the balance sheet, income statement, that definitely is something that I could, directly apply into my business. So instead of outsourcing that, I could, do that. It takes a lot of time for sure, but at least I know exactly what's making up all my numbers.
So do you do all your own taxes then at the end of the year?
Yeah,
Do you-
I have a tax preparer I work
Okay.
with because tax is such a specialized area. You gotta know all the rules, all the deductions that businesses can take or can't take. So I have a professional tax preparer that I work with.
That's a smart idea because if you're not really doing it every year,
Yeah,
it's kind of like pressure or deck washing, or if it's not something you do every day,
Yeah.
like you're gonna take more time doing it,
Yeah.
and while you can be spending your time at what you're good at,
Yeah.
than having somebody else do that, right?
yeah, for sure. The opportunity cost and tax is basically a code, a law. So
Yeah.
if someone's not staying current with all the updates, then
And there's a
Would it
little
be accurate?
liability to that too, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because the IRS doesn't knock on your door and you can't give them the excuse like, "Ooh, I forgot," or
Mhm.
"I didn't know that was a rule that I couldn't deduct all this stuff."
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I tend to hire it out because I feel like the liability behind
Mhm.
that, even like payroll,
Yeah, yeah.
doing payroll, I'll definitely always, even though if I
Yeah.
had a degree, I feel like I think I'd hire that out
Yeah.
with consistency.
Yeah, expertise and time savings.
Yeah.
So you can focus on something that's more priority to you.
Yeah, yeah. Do you enjoy doing the accounting stuff, or are you kind of moving away from that? And I'd rather be out there chasing
Oh yeah, I
new
think
clients.
I think growing the business is much more exciting than taking care of the books, the nuts and bolts, and the accounting, the figures. But that's something that I think, well, it is very important because you got to know the financial health of your organization, and that's going to help you strategize on what can I do, what can I hold off on. So it really, if you know your numbers, then you're going to be able to figure out what you need to focus on next.
Do you think there's any big difference between like a smaller company? Like, do you have to look at your accounting a little differently from a small business to, let's say, a mid-size, from I'm just taking a guess, maybe you're doing $500,000 a year or 500,000. Is there any accounting differences or numbers differences, like how you do things, as opposed to you work for a corporation that's probably what?
Yeah.
50 million?
Billions.
Billion?
Yeah.
So is there
Yeah.
a difference?
I think so. Yeah, because there are certain industries. So let's go back to when I was Wells Fargo. It's a large financial company, and so by virtue of that, there are certain regulations because banking is highly regulated as it should be. And so there's proper controls and regulations, policies in place. So if there's a larger company, they're going to be held under higher scrutinies and higher rules that they have to abide by. So whereas smaller companies, just because of the size, they don't hit a certain threshold. So there's going to be different rules and policies that they have to adhere to. So yeah, the size of the company determines what kind of regulations and filings they have to do.
Do you feel like that translated into your world then of a smaller, company?
Yeah, we're a small company.
Yeah.
A small
Well, we are
business, so-
too. We're
Yeah.
considered a small company,
Yeah.
even
Right.
though we have 20 something employees
Yeah, that's cool.
or team members. We're considered that. And I feel like sometimes I wonder if money's kind of the same, right? Percentages. It's all about like making sure your percentages are right, like your labor percentages compared to your product percentage and
Got it.
your service percent, whatever that may be, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you have to run it kind of the same as a big business.
Oh
but
yeah, for sure.
I also think that going back to like some of the labor or some of you have to wear many hats as opposed to the bigger companies. They actually have people that specialize in
correct.
each individual department that
Right.
makes them a lot more efficient.
For sure. Yeah. With the bigger company, you're able to hire a lot more people, and those people specialize in certain areas and maybe cross over from one line of business to another or a different field expertise. Yeah. So there's with larger companies, there are opportunities to move around. That's what I did. I was at Wells for 16 years, moving from different lines of businesses and getting responsibility exposure to different kind of businesses, which, I appreciate it and I'm grateful for that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see the different, like, special, like us, even we're a small company, but I do have a controller in place, right?
Yeah.
And she does the pay, what do they call that? The accounts receivables, accounts payables. She's controlling some of the HR.
Yeah.
And but she doesn't have to like go out and sell. She doesn't do that.
Yeah.
But being you, and you have a few team members that are out there doing the work, but you're controlling most of the office, but you're like the CEO, CFO, controller.
I'm the team lead.
The accounts payable,
HR,
accounts receivable.
Right now, yeah.
And even down to like, you gotta clean the trucks because
Exactly.
your guys are like going, hey, I'm just done with the technical part of it. you got to wash the trucks.
Exactly. And I'm out there doing jobs right now too.
Yeah,
So, it's quite a lot.
I feel like that's a lot at the beginning, and that's what you have to do, right? You do what you got to do to survive and make
it's
it.
a grind for sure.
It's about cut and making wherever you cut, right? The cuts that you have to make, or not the cuts, I guess, because you're building.
Yeah.
Because eventually you start building where you bring on more people, but then it's like
you cut your teeth.
cut your teeth on everything.
Pay your dues and grind, and because you learn it, so I could bring somebody on, train, and show them the whys about certain things.
And for our audiences out there that are listening, being in that have a business, kind of understand you build up, then you kind of plateau, but you also have to make some hard decisions of actually cutting team members or cutting certain expenses, because it's I feel like every business, and we've gone through that in the last 25 years, is cyclical, right? Like you build, but then you add more, but then you cut a little bit, but then you add more back in after a while. And I think you've seen that in the larger corporations, right?
In larger corporations, having worked there for a couple of decades, you see the pendulum swing. Like sometimes there's a certain emphasis about a certain particular topic, so there's a lot of resources that go towards that, and then after a while it kind of swings to something else. So over time there's always a little swing back and forth.
And when you say resources, I'm thinking of that's money. Resources.
Money, personnel,
but you need money to get personnel, you need money to get technology. And it just feels like the more you grow, sometimes it's more money, more problems, right? As the rapper says. Who's the rapper that says that, Dan?
More money, more problems. That's well. One Pete at that time was Puff Daddy.
Puff Daddy. That's right. I'm not young, hip with it. Well, with that, we'll take it into a break.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
We'll be right back.
All right. Thanks.
Anoka Meals on Wheels, a nonprofit organization that I proudly support, delivers more than just nutritious meals to seniors in our community. They deliver connection, care, and peace of mind. Their volunteers don't just drop off food. They check in, share a smile, and ensure our neighbors know they're not forgotten. I know because I am one of those volunteer drivers. Help us keep serving those who need it most. Visit mowanoka.org to volunteer, donate, or learn more about Anoka Meals on Wheels, nourishing bodies and spirits one meal at a time. Tired of lugging heavy bags of water softener salt from the store? Twin Sea Heating, Air, and Electric now delivers premium water softener salt right to your home in returnable, reusable 20-pound containers to go green and light it up to save you from injury. Serving the north suburbs, we're your neighbors who know how hard our water is. No more running out of salt and dealing with spotty dishes and stiff laundry. Quality salt, reliable delivery, local service you can trust. Because at Twin Sea Heating, Air, and Electric, we don't just keep your home comfortable, we keep your water soft and your life easy. Twin Sea Heating, Air, and Electric, now with water softener salt delivery. Call today or visit us online. And we are back. We have Abe Kao. Abe Kao. I kind of sometimes, as Asian, I should remember how to pronounce it. That K-O is more of a Gao sound. So,
right.
Yeah. So for you Asians out there, you know what I'm talking about. That actually it's kind of funny that Abe and I, even though we're both Asian, I think you speak Mandarin.
Some Mandarin and Taiwanese. Taiwanese is what we spoke at home.
Okay.
So it's a local dialect within Taiwan and parts of Southeast China.
Yeah. And I speak Cantonese.
Okay.
And some Toisan.
Okay.
But I don't really speak Toisan. I guess I shouldn't say that. I can understand it. It's very hard to understand because my parents were Toisan, but I speak Cantonese at like a second or third grade level. So
yeah, that's kind of how my Taiwanese and Mandarin is too.
Yeah. I remember going into like when I was working a lot more restaurants, being a restaurant. I did a lot of restaurant refrigeration about 30 years ago.
Okay.
And I talked to a lot of the Chinese cooks, right, that didn't speak a lot of English, and
You're right.
they would ask me, "Hey, are you married?" And my Chinese was learned from the 50s, right? Because my parents came over in the 50s, and I still remember saying this. I would say in translation, I would say in Chinese, it would be I. So for you Chinese people that understand this one, I would tell people, 我娶咗個鬼佬, which meant I married a white man. That's how you actually literally translate it. Until one of the owners comes up to me and says, you gotta say it this way. 你娶咗個鬼妹. But even that's very slang because it's ghost woman or ghost man, right? But,
so it's the tones.
Yeah, it's the
very
tone.
subtle tones that makes a big
and then
difference.
the man, right? Because I didn't know. I speak at a second grade level. Like man is like literally like man, right? And I should be saying woman, white woman. So they would laugh and just walk away.
Right.
I'm like, what's he laughing at? Right? But anyway, so this is the part of the show where I actually show you a picture that you might not have seen in a while.
Okay.
But and I think you probably have seen this one. But anyway, so tell me about that. I can see you had a thumbs up there going.
Oh yeah. So that was at TC at Bank Stadium. I'm a big football fan, college football, primarily Gophers. I don't follow all the schools, but Gopher football. Vikings for sure. So my brother and I went to a Gopher football game as an alumni. So yeah, it's always fun to get out there, good weather. Hopefully team's doing well. But,
well, I see the thumbs up. I
noticed that day
21-0.
That day was good.
That's a good day for my friend Anthony Burke too, who graduated from the U as a football player in 1988. So
got it.
Yeah, hopefully we can get him on the show at some point.
Yeah,
but and was your parents into like football or any of that?
My parents were athletic, but them growing up in Taiwan, sports wasn't that big of a part of growing up. Definitely fitness and exercise were important, so my parents were both very active and enjoyed being outside and in athletics. But sports, as we have it here in America, wasn't so much.
Yeah.
For there.
I think my dad didn't stress on it, but my dad was like kind of like old school, like owned a restaurant, and I still remember it's past statute of limitations, right? Like I can tell people that my dad, he's passed away, and I think his bookie probably passed away though. I still remember going as a young kid, and I grew up in our restaurant was in downtown Minneapolis, and we would go to a florist, and he would go place his bet, and that was his bookie. What's the florist? His name was Archie Fine, and I think it was Minneapolis Floral or something like that. This was back in the 70s.
Yeah, right.
My dad would bet on college football.
Wow.
And back in the day when you didn't have all these like DraftKings and stuff like that, and I still remember he had a bookie, and he never got in trouble. He just like did it for fun, but it was kind of funny. I don't know if I should be talking about that, should I? But it's past statute of limitations, so it's 70s. That's like 50 years ago.
Right.
But that's awesome. And being first generation, I was probably the first generation to be born here. Actually, I think I am the first one, at least on my dad's side, to be born here, or part of my dad.
Okay.
I think I have an uncle who had a son who was born here before me, and you know how it is, the Chinese culture, like the number one son is probably the most important, right? Like everybody else gets forgotten about, which a little pressure on us.
Oh, it's a lot of pressure.
Are you the number one son too?
Yeah, I'm the oldest child in my family, oldest son, so there's definitely a lot of pressure, a lot more strictness, but I appreciate it. At the time, it was kind of difficult sometimes, but looking back, it really, you feel the love, the tough love from the parents, and of course, there was a balance, and so I knew there was love there. That's where it was coming from, but the strictness, some of the rules, the way I was raised, sometimes compared to some of my friends, It seemed a little bit more difficult, but definitely something that I look back on. And I'm grateful my parents brought me up that way.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because we probably all think differently. And me growing up, being a first generation, being born here, right? It was like I had a tough time embracing it when I was like in the 70s because what was going on back then, right? The Vietnam War. So, and I hate to say, people when they judge a book by the cover, they can't tell if we're Vietnamese, Hmong, Chinese, Japanese. It's kind of like all the same to them, right? So.
Right.
I think back then, because of the Vietnam War, I was just like, I'm not one of them, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it made it difficult as sometimes as first or a generation passed. But I think my dad did his best to raise us. I was more of a black sheep, I think, because they always said, "Why can't you be more like your sisters? Study harder.
Right.
Don't go play football and baseball and all that stuff."
Sports has no future.
Exactly. But now those guys are making millions of dollars, so I would have just worked out a little bit harder, right? I had the talent. So the next one I have here is you're standing on some sort. You must have conquered a mountain.
I believe this was out in North Carolina. So I visited my buddy who I grew up with here in Minnesota. They moved out to Charlotte area, and I think that might be in Asheville, North Carolina. But we went on a hike, and there were some nice rock formations. So climbed up there, get the scenic look from a high view. So it's cool. My buddy snapped this photo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so being outside, seeing the good views, nature.
I feel like going to North Carolina in the mountains, they don't get to see too many Asians there.
Probably not too many.
It's kind of like, and it's what you're used to, right? Because my nephew came out and visited us, Quincy. This was when he was younger, and he lives in San Francisco, right? So he sees a lot of Chinese people, Asians, right?
Yeah.
And I still remember this was maybe 2005, 2010 maybe. We're driving around Brooklyn Park, and all of a sudden he says, there's a lot of white people out here. So it's like, it's what you're used to, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. But,
For sure.
Yeah. And then this last picture, this is the one that you for sure probably don't remember or haven't seen in a while. So this was probably taken in 2011.
Oh, wow. Yeah. This was in Bali, Indonesia, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a story to share about that. So one of my good friends, Peter, he came here for school and we got to know each other through church. And then so once he graduated, he moved back to Indonesia to help with the family business. So after 10 years of not seeing him, went to visit him in Jakarta. That's where he lives. And then for a weekend, we went out for a couple of days, we went out to Bali. It's a nice vacation resort kind of place. So that was the first night we had dinner on the beach. So you hear the waves coming in, and as you walk in, it's all open air. So you pick out what kind of seafood you want grilled, and they grill it up for you. And yeah, it's really nice. But we were there for 2 days. First day, get there, white sand beach with tinge of pink because it's grounded seashells, and the lush in the peninsula jutting out into water, and the water was just perfect temperature, turquoise, and so it was really a great time. Second day, we woke up, it was raining. So, bummer. And so we ate a big breakfast buffet, and I think we went back and watched volleyball, whatever was on TV at the time, or in the morning,
right?
Which was, I don't know, some random show. I don't know what it was, but around noon, 1 o'clock, it stopped raining, but it was still windy, which made for big waves. So it was fun. And being from Minnesota, we have lakes, but we don't have oceans around here. I love oceans and mountains. So I took the opportunity to go play, and then I kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. So to the point where I was on my very tops of my tiptoes, and the water was coming out to my chin, which was way too deep. It was reckless, hindsight looking back. So I was jumping into water, into the waves, and I got hit by a sequence of waves that threw me down the coast, out into the water, and deep into water. So when I came up to the surface, my contacts had fallen down. All I could see was sky and water. I was like, oh shoot, where am I? So I turned myself around. Way off in distance, I could see the shore. So at least I knew my orientation. It was far, so I knew I had quite a ways to swim, but at least I knew which direction I was going, and I was out in the middle of nowhere. So I started swimming, and then I'm getting kind of tired, so I reached down to find something to stand up, because where I was playing, it was a nice flat sand bed. And so I reached down, nothing. So I get a little concerned, so I swim some more, and now I'm nearly spent, almost exhausted. So I'm treading water. I put my foot down, try to find something to stand on, and still nothing. So now I'm terrified. I'm scared because I'm imagining deep, dark ocean, what kind of creatures are around. No.
Sharks.
Yeah. Swimming underneath me. Right. So I'm scared. I'm treading water, and I've got no energy left. And so at that moment, I thought to myself, I was like, this might be it. I might not make it. And the thought of me not seeing my family was just so sad. So that moment of like sheer terror and immense heaviness of being sad just felt like it was constricting and weighing down my heart. And I remember explicitly thinking, I gotta make it home. I have to make it home. So I yell for help as loud as I can. Don't see anybody. I'm not sure if anybody can hear me, but I yell for help. So I was thinking 5 times while swallowing water. And so I put my head in the water and I freestyle as hard as I could. And then everything just went dark, just pitch dark. And it was very peaceful, very quiet. But I saw my body gently, slowly, peacefully sinking down towards darkness and abyss. It's like, am I dreaming? Did I go back to the hotel and I'm having a horrible dream? It's like, I know I'm still in the ocean. So I was like, God, wake me up, wake me up, wake me up. And next thing I knew, I was being lifted from an ATV into an ambulance. I couldn't open my eyes. I could hear. When they lifted me, oh man, it felt like my body was about to break into 1,000 pieces. But I got rescued somehow. I don't know how any of that happened, but I just said, thank God, and I'm still here today. And I got rescued somehow must have been pretty quick, because if somebody's not breathing for a long time, complications develop from that. But yeah, thank God I'm here today, healthy, and still living.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's quite a story, near-death experience.
Yeah.
Makes you appreciate life even more.
Oh, 100%. Wow. Yeah.
And because life is so short sometimes.
I know. Wow. We have to definitely respect and take caution with certain activities. That was reckless, going out that far and playing.
But you learn something from nothing's always good, nothing's always bad. We're just it makes you appreciate what we have, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I tell people, respect the ocean. Don't mess around with the ocean, and wear a bright color swimsuit just in case.
Just in case, yeah. And you think that you're in a swimming pool, it's so easy, just like kind of lean back and just float, right?
Yeah.
But in the ocean, you can't do that because those waves are a little bit harder.
Very hard. I mean, you could stand on a shore, catch a wave right in the chest, and knock you out several steps, or the undertow could sweep you underneath. Because where I was playing it was a nice sand bed, and then the ocean floor just dropped. So where I got thrown out into was just really deep water, and the current was just sucking everything out. No matter how hard I was swimming, I wasn't making any more progress coming back in.
Wow.
Yeah, because that ocean tow current is strong.
Wow, that's quite a story. Wow, Abe, thanks for sharing that with us.
You're welcome. Yeah, that was a memorable trip for.
I was going to talk about that memorable trip. That fish dinner looks really good. That's one thing us Asians are really good at, is food, and you can tell by my body type. And I'm starting to learn we're not bad drivers like the myths say. Nah. Most of it is because we're eating some good food while we're driving. That's what it really comes down to. So another question that I'd love to ask as we close out the show is, who's someone you would love to see or hear on this podcast, and why?
I think someone would be Kurt Larson. So we got to know each other through I used to referee high school basketball and some small college basketball, but over time we got to know each other a little bit. I haven't reffed in years now, but we still kept in touch. And he has a company, a home inspection company called Marigold Home Inspections that does really good work. He has a nice team out there. I think it's really something that good people, good organizations, it all starts with good people. Good people make things work. That's one of my mottos or slogans that I live by. And so, yeah, Kurt Larson be somebody
Yeah, and he
good
owns.
to connect with. Yeah, he founded and owns Marigold Home Inspections.
Marigold
Yeah, they're
Home
based in Coon Rapids.
Oh yeah, you know, my daughter used them to do part of her process of buying their house.
Okay, yeah, cool.
I'd love to have hers.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That's good work.
Yeah, I'll have to. Yeah, well, that's a great shout out. Love to bring them on. So, no doubt. And yeah, so as we close out the show, one of the things that I always do is I love to give you a gift.
Oh, cool.
And so what we have, I'm going to start off with this. Just a little thanks for being on the show.
Ah, nice.
It's a trophy and has your name on it. You are actually lucky number 8 on our episode.
Okay,
So
sweet.
I hate to say it, us Asians, I love the number 8. That's probably my favorite number of all.
Yeah.
So I tend to do that. And my next one is, so this might be worth something.
Oh, wow.
It's a Chris Carter
Nice.
card. And, you know, I did a little research on. He's an 8-time Pro Bowler, and he led the league 3 times for NFL touchdowns for the Vikings.
He was the leader in touchdown catches.
Yes.
3 times.
He basically cleaned up on all those awards, kind of like you and ClearBright Washing, right? He's
Yeah.
cleaning up.
Yep, he is. Yeah.
And since you're such a big Vikings fan,
awesome.
I got you one of these
Thank
to
you,
keep
Wyman.
keep your
This is
hot
awesome.
drinks hot and your cold drinks cold.
Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, big Vikings fan, so I super appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, I can't thank you enough, Abe, for coming on Twin City Tales. If you want to learn more about Abe, you can go to his website at clearbrightwashing.com. Again, that's clearbrightwashing.com. Or you can visit us at Twin City Tales Facebook page, and we'll post it on there. And as we roll out of here, I want to thank Chris Hockey for the use of his song Thanks, with no pun intended. This podcast is powered by Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, and now with water treatment and softener systems too. So until the next show, remember, you can't go wrong with Wyman Wong on Twin City Tales Podcast.
This song goes out to my family, to all the ones who died before me. I'm sure the family life made you do things you never wanted to, so I wrote this song